Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to WeThePeople.wtf, the only game show that takes on modern politics with a smile, or at least an ironic eye roll. And today we're joined by some incredibly funny people, and up first, he's a friend of mine. I like to think of him as a redneck from a purple state. Coming all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, Andrew Hall is here. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing all right. I just, had a mullet that just got cut because I wanted to make sure people knew my politics from a distance. So it's...
That's important. That's important. The ironic city mullet and the dangerous country mullet. It's too much crossover.
The Venn diagram, it's a very scary center.
I feel like if you're someone who knows what a Venn diagram is, you might have the right politics also, but that's separate. That's about math. Well, also joining us, coming all the way from Hawaii, but now living in Washington, D.C., he's also a good friend of mine and a very funny person. We've got Kevin Tit. Kevin, if you were the president right now, how would you reassure the American people?
I would shut the hell up and just let it be what it be, baby. That's what makes people feel good. They're sick of hearing from the president, okay? Run it back. You never knew what they were saying before.
You want to bring some mystery back to the office. I like that.
Exactly. Let rich people be quiet again.
Wow, let rich people be quiet again. We found our hashtag for the episode already, maybe. Awesome. Well, finally, we are joined by a legendary comedian and actor and activist. We're so honored to have her here. It's Margaret Cho. Margaret, thank you for being here. And would you have any advice for people dealing with the sort of all-American fuckery that we're living through right now?
Yes, thank you. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. People aren't dying from that. People aren't killing for that.
Logic applied immediately. That's what we like to see. Yes. And now I should say for our audience, before we get started, don't forget that you can stick around to the end and you can find out how you can win a sweepstakes for 1,000 American dollars. And as of this recording, American dollars are still worth something. So that's a pretty good deal. But I'd like to dive right into our first game because fortunately or not, and it's unfortunate, conspiracy theories, they used to be the territory of like tinfoil hat wearing weirdos with hygiene problems who lived in their parents' basements. But now they're the mainstream political thing that motivates most Americans. So with that in mind, we like to say here, if you can't beat them, join them. And I'm going to ask each of our contestants to combine two very disparate ideas and invent their own brand new conspiracy theory for us here today. Well, this is a game that we call Conspiracy Combo. Andrew, we're going to have you go first. And the things that I would like you to combine for your conspiracy are rap music and climate change.
I know we're trying to do a conspiracy theory, but this is all fact. You can chart the data from when the birth of rap, or rhythm and poetry, and climate change, the planet just started to get a little hotter. And it happened bar by bar, rhyme by rhyme. Even Lil Wayne says, the block is hot. 400 degrees? I mean, these are truth tellers living in a system that continues to get hotter and hotter, again, bar by bar. So the more good rap we have, the hotter the climate will get, which is why I do encourage people like Asher Roth and Yellow Wolf to continue to make hip hop in an attempt to cool the planet down.
You'd support the government paying white rappers to put out albums to lower the quality of hip hop overall. Is that right?
Is it a conflict of interest that I got bars for yards and yards of bards that want to sing in my yard? Who knows? But that could be a stimulus check.
I felt the temperature go down. Excellent. That's basically a believable conspiracy theory. I'm there with you. Kevin, you're up next, and you have two different things I'd like you to combine for your conspiracy. Peanut butter and big oil.
You go to your organic food store, you open up the top of that jar of peanut butter, what's sitting there? Oil. There's always been oil in peanut butter. And they keep saying, they're drilling, they're fracking to get more oil for cars. But we got to look under that. It's nuts under there. Peanuts. And until we get that through our heads, until we all come together and realize that the big peanut, is going to destroy this planet, then there's no hope for us.
Wow, fracking for peanut butter does sound like a beautiful script I would love to read one day. Well, finally, we're going to turn to Margaret to expand our minds even further. And Margaret, for your conspiracy, I'd like you to connect flamingos with the United States military.
Well, I think that flamingos have long brought a gay agenda to the military, and you could really see it. So I see that the way that the Secretary of War is now trying to deflamingorize, deflam the military by changing the names of warships like the Harvey Milk to no longer portray the flamingo, the inflammatory flamingo history that it used to have. So I think it's all very deflammatory. And pink will sink, that's what we're saying nowadays.
Wow. I love that. And maybe the next protest movement, instead of the pink hats, it can be just the plastic flamingos you wear on your head.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, thank you all for that. I think that any of you could get elected to Congress based on those conspiracy theories, realistically, in the world that we live in now. But I'd like to turn to something else that is eroding our democracy from the outside in, and that is capitalism. Capitalism works great, and we know that because like every 5 to 10 years, there's a huge crisis and a financial collapse, and the government has to bail out a bunch of banks and corporations. When that happens, they were told they're called too big to fail. So that's the name of our game here.
Too big to fail. They ride my dick like a whale. I got that Ivy League flow, spitting shit like I'm Yale.
And I'd like for each of our contestants to search your mind for a company, not necessarily a massive corporation, that would get bailed out by the governments, but a company that we as Americans truly could not live without. So I'm going to turn to Kevin first. Kevin, what company do you think deserves defending above all else?
Wi-Fi. Big Wi-Fi. The company. WIFI with the little C at the corner. Yeah. I know they're doing a lot of bad stuff, but where would we be without it? I mean, we kind of need that, and they're bound to bankrupt the entire, country. But hey, it is what it is, baby. I don't know how it works, but I know I can't live without it.
It is what it is, and I don't know how it works. I feel like you could be a tech CEO, Kevin. You sound ready to take on that role. That's perfect. Okay, so big Wi-Fi, potentially something that's just too big to fail. Next, we're going to go to Margaret. Margaret, what for you is a company, a business that you just couldn't live without that we all need to keep around?
Well, I think that this is really specific to manufacturers of clamshell packaging. Anything anything sort of like automotive or like industrial or those things that have to require you. If you got rid of that clamshell packaging, you would completely decimate the scissor industry, especially hardware, like very like intense, like almost industrial scissors. They are what exist completely separately, but need each other to survive. Especially the clamshell packaging that has staples in it. So that's a specific subset of that. So I think that those two industries without each other would fail, even though they're both very big and almost too big to fail.
Wow, I think that's a great point and an added benefit, because I would say probably like 50% of Americans, the only exercise they get is trying to rip apart that packaging. So there's a healthcare impact too.
Right. It's also like it's also a treasure hunt kind of to find with a seam to start opening it. And that's why we have the need to bring in the scissor industry, the heavy duty scissor industry.
That's good. It's very rarely that you get to talk about intersectionality with business, and I'm glad that we're doing that. Perfect. Well, finally, Andrew, for you, what company, what corporation is just too big to fail?
So this is a coalition of workers that time and time again have shown that in economic downtimes, they are putting the team on their back and carrying it. And it is drug dealers that I can text that will arrive at my house with marijuana. And if these men and women unionize, they would be the strongest and largest workforce in America. But when times are tough, what do people need? They need an escape, and they need a way to save on gas. And that is where the drug dealer that drives to my house to give me weed is the ultimate hero. And if the economy is so bad that they can't get to me or they can't get the cabbage, I'm going to make January 6th look like an episode of Miss Rachel.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I think interesting that you, based on what you said, you're saying that just your demand for weed alone maintains this massive workforce. Is that?
I'm all over the country looking for the best weed on a Food Network show
hosted by High Fieri.
420 days a year, we are searching America high and low for the best nuggets to pair with nuggets.
Wow. Well, I'm ready to make the Food Network a pitch if you are. That's great. Excellent work all around. I don't know which one I would pick. I'll leave it up to our audience to maybe get in the comments and tell us which one of the corporations you think is really the one that needs to stand the test of time. But we're ready for our final game, sort of our flagship game here that we like to call Sign of the Times. Protesting hasn't really been this in style since Jenny and Forrest Gump attended the March on Washington, but this in positive energy we like to be inspired by here. We like to take a look at the creative and the funny and the weird protest signs that people make. We've asked our contestants here to pick one of them that really stood out to them and spoke to them. We're going to have them pitch the sign, and that's where you come in, because you, the audience, get to vote on the winner and then potentially win a sweepstakes for $1,000 if you do. So get in there, vote on the winner, and make sure you do. But first, we've got to hear from them. So contestants, I'd like for you to go first. And Margaret, if you wouldn't mind, could you tell us about the protest sign you picked?
I cheated a little bit. I used mine, which is from the last No Kings protest. And there's my friend. I wrote both. These are all my intellectual property. So grab him by the thrussie, which I think is self-explanatory. And Stephen Miller is a small screaming sperm, which caused a protester to stop her car and scream classy at me as I walked across the street.
Well, we really need to worry about being polite when we're protesting a fascist authoritarian takeover of our country. You got to really make sure you're on your toes. Mm-hmm. Excellent. I love that. All right. Well, Andrew, what about you? What sign did you pick?
So I picked a sign that can kind of play both sides of the fence. If you're not plugged into internet culture, you're maybe a little bit older. It says, "We're all the couch now." And someone may think, oh, that's from Friends. We need to pivot. Sure. You can think that if you're dumb. I don't care. The fact is, J.D. Vance often and repeatedly fucked a couch to completion in college, post-college, and as vice president. And I think the messaging in this sign is reminding us constantly that not only are we fucked, but we are not consenting, and no one's gonna clean up the mess when it's over. I mean, we are sitting ducks, and it's not a comfortable place to be seated, if you ask me.
Wow. Succinctly and beautifully said. That leaves us with one final sign. Kevin, what do you got for us?
It's a thinker. I had to read it like 4 times before I understood. But it said, what do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? It's irrelevant. During these trying times, there's nothing that made more sense to me than this, because I can't even begin to get into it because I don't have the time.
You need the time machine. If you were given the time machine, where would you go back to kind of set things right?
32 BC.
Oh, wow. It was that early.
Yeah, man, there was a lot of fucked up stuff going on back then that we haven't even begun to address yet. And I'm just going to go ahead and nip it all in the bud so that way we don't have to worry about nothing today.
All right, it makes sense to me. Well, listen, you all made incredible picks. I liked them all. I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite. I'll leave that up to our audience. I will say we want you to get out there now and decide which one you like best. So this is how you can do that. You can win $1,000, as I mentioned before. Go to WeThePeople.wtf, register with your email. You'll get to vote on your favorite one of these citizen protest signs picked by our panelists here, and you will be entered to win. So again, that's WeThePeople.wtf. You can go there and check it out. Maybe win some money. Make sure you drop a comment if you would like. Let us know which one of the corporations you thought was the best and or worst. Smash the subscribe button. Follow us at WeThePeople.wtf. And obviously, please check out all of our amazing comedians, Andrew Hall, Kevin Tit, and Margaret Cho. Thank you all for watching WeThePeople.wtf. And until next time, remember, democracy dies and... Oh, no, wait, this is an old one, so I have to come up with a new riff. Fuck. Thanks for watching WeThePeople.wtf. Until next time, remember, democracy exists for now. For now.